Hey, Brixel!
Hey, it's Bloom.
Let's talk about Guild Wars.
Yeah,
So,
let's do it.
this is the first episode of whatever we're naming this. And I thought that it would be a pretty elegant way of starting by just doing a little bit of an introduction. So, my good friend Bloom, tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got to where you are, why you decided to start making Guild Wars content, and yeah, how you found yourself in Guild Wars.
Yeah, I mean that's a big question. But yeah, so I'm Bloom on YouTube, and I make Guild Wars 2 videos. I think my overall objective is trying to simplify Guild Wars 2 down to new players and make it a bit more approachable. Explain how the game works in a more familiar way, especially to people that have played other MMOs, because I've played almost every MMO under the sun.
Yeah, me too.
I started playing, yeah, exactly. And I started playing Guild Wars 2 around the Heart of Thorns era, and since then it's just been the MMO that I keep coming back to, and I felt so passionately about it that I wanted to make videos on it. Only just now, I used to make, videos on Destiny 2 and that sort of thing. I used to play a bunch of other MMOs, but I feel like Guild Wars 2 really needed the help. It needed like more people in the content creation space. So that's kind of why I picked it up. And yeah, I just keep trying to make guides and trying to some hot takes and discussion videos and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, well, I'm Brixel, or rather, I'm Brixel's editing minion.
You
Yeah.
got a shadow writer like in the background of videos, and then you just record them and that's it, and someone else edits.
Yeah, no, I don't do shit, actually. I just play Guild Wars. Yeah, I started playing Guild Wars back in 2012, day one. I didn't manage to make it into the beta, and I didn't get it into early access, so I was there day one on the, what was it, the 28th? Yeah, it was the 28th.
Yeah.
Good times. And I was super into the game at launch, but then there wasn't much of an end game at launch, so I kind of fell off of it, and I got into other games like Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I got very heavily back into WoW, and I eventually got back into Final Fantasy XIV, and I eventually got really into ESO, as my early content will show. But early this year, or should I say late last year, I got back into Guild Wars more seriously, and I also kind of saw that Guild Wars didn't really have enough content creators. I have a journalism background. I've worked in live TV news. I've worked in
Oh, cool! I didn't know that actually.
Oh yeah, no, I've
Sweet.
yeah. So I worked in TV. I worked on several car shows. I worked on a home and garden show.
Sweet. Yep.
So, and then I worked on some educational stuff. But then so I have this journalism background, and I wanted to bring that to the Guild Wars community, because there's a lot of people with hot takes and opinions about what's going down, but there's no regular news. Like, this is what happened this week, a block of, like, this is what happened. And I very much wanted to fill that niche, and I very much wanted to be put in that box of the journalism dude in the Guild Wars space, but with a fun little Brixel twist, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's really important, because ArenaNet usually just post their news through the blog posts and tweets and that sort of thing, and it's all sort of all over the place, and so I think a majority of the audience aren't that up to date with the goings on in Guild Wars 2. They're not like reading every blog post and that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you're doing. That's how we met. I like messaged you and said I loved your content and stuff.
I couldn't
truly,
believe.
I think there's
I couldn't believe that you messaged me when you first messaged me, because I loved your content, and obviously I'm a huge I'm a huge fan of Skill Up, and I just couldn't believe that, like, because I had already been binging your Guild Wars 2 content before we met, and then like I saw that you followed me on Twitter, and I was actually wondering earlier, did you like see my like, hey, follow me on Twitter at brixelyt at the end of my video and actually go do it, because I've been wondering if this call to action worked.
I'm sure it does, because I'm sure it does. But I actually just, I don't know, I watched a couple of your videos and I really liked the style of it, and it was definitely a very specific niche that was not filled right now with Guild Wars 2, the sort of constant news stuff. So I like seeked you out. I tried to see if you were on, like, I mean, I just followed the Twitter link and then just messaged you.
Oh, wow. Well,
that's great.
That's kind of like a meandering tangent cutter from the back end of YouTube, just wondering to see if shit actually works. But yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, we just had a fairly important day in Guild Wars 2.
Yes.
Do you know what happened, Bloom?
No idea. I have no idea what happens. Actually, nothing's happened in the last week in Guild Wars 2. It's been just
weirdly
completely
quiet.
dead.
It's been weirdly quiet.
Unironically, it kind of has been quiet, but that's like a discussion we'll get into at some point.
Yes.
Yeah. But yes, the 10th anniversary.
The 10th anniversary. I cannot believe that, like, as I was saying earlier, it's been 10 years since I went and picked up that Guild Wars 2 box from my local BT Games that we have here in South Africa. Like, it is wild to me to think that was 10 years ago. Because this game is still so fresh.
Yeah. For me, it was Guild Wars 2 was the first MMO that, like, I owned. My parents wouldn't let me play. They wouldn't let me get World of Warcraft for like the huge stigma around it, like the addiction stigma, that kind of thing. Yeah, and even thinking back, like as a kid, I don't know that I would have gotten my 13-year-old a subscription-based MMO. Like that's pretty crazy, you know.
I started playing WoW when I was 11, and like I cannot believe my mom was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll get you a WoW sub."
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like I had to play it through. I went to friends' houses and played it through friends and played it on like their brother's account on their other computer and that sort of thing. But it was the first MMO I bought. Dad bought it for me because there's no subscription. And 10 years is pretty crazy. Because it even now I feel like the old zones hold up better than the old zones of other MMOs. Like you play WoW or Final Fantasy and you go back to those like really early zones and you're like, oh yeah, this looks like it was made 10 years ago, you know? But weirdly, I feel like Guild Wars 2 generally holds up. If it released now, I'd just be like, oh, okay.
I think that, like, because I know the aesthetic of the game so well that I can kind of differentiate between, like, 2012 ANET design and, like, 2020 ANET design. Like, I can see that there's been a massive improvement in texture quality and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, I think what's so impressive is that throughout these 10 years of design, it's been so cohesive.
Yeah.
That
they've had really strong art direction all the way through.
It still looks like Guild Wars, and yes, they can do more, you can show more, everything can be faster now, but because it's got such a well-defined art style, it's so hard to actually make it not look like Guild Wars.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think it is just a crazy feat that has been around for 10 years. That is a big deal for an MMO, you know, like a lot of MMOs have shut down. I know Bless Unleashed is like shutting down right now.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. Eesh.
Yeah, and like Terra's shut down in that time. A lot of MMOs have shut down, and Guild Wars 2 has stayed with us the whole 10 years.
Warpath.
I know. He wants to kill every game. That's the plan. But he hasn't gotten Guild Wars 2 yet, which is good.
I actually heard him saying some incredibly positive things about Guild Wars 2 recently. He was saying that that out of WoW and Final Fantasy 14 and Guild Wars 2, that it is the best game, and that's a claim. That's a big claim.
Yes, especially
from an MMO YouTuber.
Exactly. Like, there's a lot of strong advocates for Guild Wars 2. Josh Hayes being one, but also there's been lots of content creation in the last like 6 months that have really blown up, and a lot of people just want to talk about Guild Wars 2, and that's what we're doing now.
That's
But
literally.
yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, just back to the 10th anniversary. I think it's a pretty huge feat.
It's
cool.
and so I watched your video on the 10th anniversary, and I'm sure some of you guys have seen my video on the 10th anniversary. And I think you guys will notice is that we had fairly differing opinions on
Yes.
on it.
Yep.
So tell me what you thought of the actual celebration of the 10th anniversary.
Yeah. So this is actually, funnily enough, this is where I sort of agree with you. Definitely, I mean, for me, the decade armor set, weapon set, the whole achievement set, that sort of stuff was so cool, and that was like enough for me. I really didn't even think that was going to be there. I honestly didn't think we were going to get anything like that for the 10th anniversary. I didn't really know what to expect because I've not done, I mean, I haven't really stuck with any other game and celebrated their anniversary stuff. So I didn't really know what to expect, and that was like a very welcome surprise to me. That was more than enough. But I think you made a point in your video that there hasn't been any actual like in-game festival type thing, and there's been no in-person sort of festival either, which I think that's like the main thing for me. I'm so shocked there hasn't been a live stream or anything like that. They've got this Seattle meetup, which looks really fun. There's so many people there, but it is truly like exclusive to people living in Seattle.
There was something at PAX West, but like, I mean, I'm not in Germany. You're not in Germany. None of us.
No.
So it's just it feels like the community was trying so hard to celebrate. And Anet, I love you guys, but it didn't really feel like you guys were really celebrating with us.
Right.
That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
But I really like, and I've really tried to emphasize this in my video, and I felt like I may have gone a little heavy with it, but I really don't want to take away from how cool what Anet did was. I really loved the 10th anniversary armor set. Like, the fact that they went and just made a full armor set just for the 10th anniversary, super cool. I was constantly wondering what this free mount skin was going to be, and there was someone in my comments being like, oh, it's probably going to be a raptor with a birthday cake on its head. And I was like, honestly, it's probably going to be something like that. I'm
glad it's not like.
But then they're just like, here. I really thought it was going to be a gimmick skin, but they're like, here, have one of the mounts you've wanted that you've probably had your eye on for a couple of years. That is so cool of them. So like, I don't want to discredit what they did, because I love what they did. But then when you look at what Final Fantasy XIV did with their Rising event, where like Yoshi P actually comes to you in game and like thanks you for playing the game, and they have this whole thing happening in Ul'dah where the music's different and there's all these decorations and there's fireworks going off, and that's so cool. It's so cool. And Guild Wars and Anet are incredible with their festive events. I remember the first time I ever played one of their festive events was the Halloween event back in 2012, and it was awesome. Like the jumping puzzle up the clock tower and the Mad King, and it was just so cool. So that's kind of my bar for festive events for Guild Wars, and there wasn't anything like that for their 10th anniversary. And it's like, how do they not have something cool like that for the 10th anniversary?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, like, obviously, as you mentioned in your video, they don't have the kind of the budget to make a custom quest line or anything like that. And I feel like a lot of their team right now is working on Living World stuff. So I think it's fair enough that we didn't get an actual fully dedicated festival to the 10th anniversary. Especially, I guess like Dragon Bash is supposed to be kind of like the yearly Guild Wars anniversary sort of festival thing. But at the very least, I feel like it did lack a lot of fanfare. We didn't get sort of I think they could have even done really low budget stuff, like just fireworks in Lion's Arch and that sort of thing. And they could have been. I think what happened was launching the Steam release alongside the anniversary date was it was great, but it was a double-edged sword, because I think people were celebrating the Steam launch more than the anniversary to begin with.
Really good point. That's a really good point.
Yeah. I don't think anyone had time to like focus on the fact that it was the 10th anniversary. Everyone was like there welcoming the new Steam players and that sort of thing. Even like the live streams with the Twitch drops were more sort of focused on
new
the
players.
fact that it's on Steam. Yeah, it wasn't really focused on the 10th anniversary. And even when the actual 10th anniversary rolled around, there's nothing in game, and I feel like we could have had this little celebration where all the ArenaNet employees are like mingling in Lion's Arch and everyone's sort of, conversing and that sort of thing. We didn't really get anything like that.
I saw a really cool thread on Reddit where this guy was just talking about the experiences he'd had in other games with their anniversary events, and like how devs would just randomly spawn like raid bosses in cities,
right, yeah.
and or like just do bizarre things, like they'd just completely bump up their characters' numbers and turn their character into a raid boss, and then all the like it's just like crazy things like that, and
yeah.
I kind of get that Guild Wars doesn't have the architecture for those crazy kinds of things, and I'm not expecting it to just be like, hey, boom, here's a raid boss in the middle of Lion's Arch, because I don't think that would work very well. But but something, like something.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I really don't want to discredit from how cool what they did was.
Yeah, no, I agree. There was nothing super memorable. Like I can't think that in the next year that I would be looking back on the 10th anniversary and be like, oh, remember that cool thing happened? Like all I could remember is that decade anniversary armor set, which is cool. But I would have liked to have pointed to some really cool event that happened in game on that 10th.
I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get that.
I think the closest we can really come to any in-game events that actually happened were just some of the cool streams that were going down, like Muckluck and Teapot's awesome streams that just had crazy numbers. But
yes,
and yes. Obviously, ANET had a very large hand in those streams. I don't want to discredit what ANET did for those streams with the Twitch drops and the promotion that they did for those streams, but also that was kind of like a community thing. It was community members going and doing something that was cool. It's not like there are ArenaNet employees or devs that went and decided to stream. Well, Roy was in the one stream, that was very cool, but yeah.
No, I agree. I was really surprised to not see a live stream from ArenaNet directly. I really actually thought that the PAX, whatever was happening at PAX, I thought that was going to be live streamed. I thought it was going to be some actual live stream event on the Guild Wars 2 Twitch page, because we haven't had. I mean, this is like another whole topic, but I'm disappointed we haven't had like another guild chat since the release of End of Dragons. And it was good. They had a good thing going. Panel of like developers talking about the game, and that's really all I want at the moment. I just want like consistent streams from the developers, and we haven't had one in like 6 months. Like, it feels like a missed opportunity.
Even something pre-recorded would be accepted at this point. Like,
yep.
I used to meme very, very heavily on them, but the streams that ESO did, and well, that ZeniMax do for ESO, they're so scripted and they're so corporate and annoying, but they're very informative and they happen regularly, and you gotta appreciate that. And then you look at what I really hate comparing Guild Wars to Final Fantasy XIV, because you can't compare budgets like that. But the Guild Wars live letters,
the Final Fantasy live letters.
Sorry, the Final Fantasy live letters. That's like 7, 8...
Only we had Guild Wars 2.
That would be beautiful. But it's like, I've seen like 9-hour live letters. That's
absolutely
absurd.
Bonkers.
It's absurd. And I think another thing that shows is just the level of dedication the devs have to the game, and I'm not at all questioning the dedication ANET has to the game, because you see that dedication. But
Yeah.
I don't know if the layman sees that dedication the way we do.
Right. Exactly. I agree. We need some more live streams from ArenaNet, please.
No, please.
The guild chats were
please.
good, because I feel like they had a really good thing going with guild chats, because they weren't scripted for the most part. They were
Yeah.
like, they felt really casual, off the cuff, and that's what I really like to see more of. And I would just, I know it's difficult to like appear on camera really frequently, pull developers away from the work they're doing to like talk on a live stream about it. But I think even once a month or once every content release, you know, like once a Living World episode, just have the people on, talk about the balance, how they're changing classes, the new stuff coming up in the next season,
Hey.
sneak previews, that sort of thing.
ANET, just like give us a dev once a month. Just
Yeah.
just pull one aside
one
once
guy.
a month.
Just give us one
Like
guy.
it doesn't
That's
even
all
matter.
we need.
And we'll grill him once a month for you.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really like the point that you made earlier that while we were trying desperately to celebrate the 10th anniversary, really it felt like a celebration of Steam.
Yeah.
But I also don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, because I really do think that
Totally.
Steam is something to celebrate. It's hella impressive, and like, if you kind of think about it, saying yes, ANET didn't do anything or whatever, like their big birthday gift to us was a Steam release. That's a monumental undertaking in itself. It's not just like copying, pasting the .exe file and popping it in Steam. Like it's a really impressive thing that they did. So that is the birthday present we got from them. And with that, I think I really like the points that you made in your most recent video about the Steam numbers. Because I think a lot of people will look at the Steam numbers and see like, 8,000 concurrent players, that's not a lot. What do you think about that?
Right. Yeah. So this has like been a huge discussion topic.
It really has.
Kind of like varying views on it.
We've been chatting. We've got a little creator Discord where we've been like, that's been a huge like hot topic for us. We've been talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still sitting at about 8,000 peak players on Steam, which again, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is 8,000 brand new peak players, and it's not like 8,000 new people are playing the game, because there's been way more people that have signed up on Steam even to play the game. It's just 8,000 at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'd guesstimate that it's like, I don't know, 20 to 30,000 new accounts maybe. That's like a rough estimate on Steam.
That's a safe estimate.
And that's even... Yeah, and that's brand new players. And even considering the fact that like Twitch, like it popped off on Twitch, and loads of people were experiencing the game for the first time on Twitch and went to, go play Guild Wars 2, they might have gone and downloaded the launcher instead of the, Steam download. So who knows how many new players we got. But I mean, I think it's a pretty good result. As we've said in both of our videos, like Final Fantasy, when that launched on Steam, had really similar numbers, and that was very early on in its life cycle.
I was just quoting you in my video. I didn't even say it myself. It's just as Bloom says. But sorry, you were saying?
I mean, but yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, that was early on in Final Fantasy's life cycle, so there was still some, hype there. It was in the conversation. Guild Wars 2 is 10 years old now. Like, it's really old. And so it coming to Steam 10 years later and reaching like 8,000 peak players, that's pretty cool, because as I said in my video, like, there is no incentive for people that already play Guild Wars 2 to sign up on Steam. They would lose everything, like all progress. And even any player that's like logged in and created a character in the last 10 years for Guild Wars 2 has no reason to migrate and wipe their progress and launch it on Steam, because then they lose their, birthday, gifts and that sort of thing.
Exactly. I mean, have you made a Steam account?
Nope.
I
was going to, but then I was
to.
like, I don't get it. I don't. Yeah. What's the point?
Like, I had every intention. Like on launch day, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna make a Steam account. I'm gonna drop into Shaymore Village with everyone else. And I was like,
yeah.
but I won't have my mounts.
Yeah.
I won't have my unlimited crafting items. I'm like, damn, that just sounds so inconvenient. And you're telling me I'm gonna have to go and buy salvage kits? No.
Yeah.
Like I've spent a while doing this.
Oh yeah, go on.
Well, I've spent a while upgrading this account. I'm not gonna just go like jump ship to Steam just because it's a more convenient launcher.
Totally. And I mean, I had a bunch of Steam credit saved up like in my Steam wallet, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll like create an account and I'll use the Steam credit to buy the expansions, and maybe I'll use the Steam credit to buy gems, convert it to gold, send it to my main account. I was, like thinking about stuff like that, but yeah, just not really worth it. And I just I think we've had a huge spike in people returning to the game, like an enormous spike. I mean, like Grouch mentioned that the player numbers have, what did he say? Actually, did he say doubled? I'm pretty sure he said it.
I don't know.
It was more.
I don't know if he said it doubled, but he said that it's there are more people playing now than at End of Dragon's launch.
Yeah, which is bananas.
Crazy.
That's crazy because
because not only are they playing now, but they're playing during what is ostensibly a content drought.
Yes.
That's crazy, because you'd imagine, like, it's not even that you'd imagine, just like the numbers show with every single MMO that the numbers are highest at launch of an expansion. This is almost unprecedented.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like End of Dragons didn't launch that long ago. It was maybe what was it, 6 months, something like that. And I feel like a lot of new players would have jumped in at End of Dragons, if anything. I don't know. Like, the Steam launch, I think, is less monumental to people outside the game than an expansion launch. So if the expansion launch didn't catch those people, I don't suspect that it would catch a lot of the Steam players. But no, you're right. Like, this is a pretty much a content lull period where there's not much coming out. So it is actually crazy that the current concurrent players right now is actually higher than End of Dragons, because it's just like, you know,
but
not much is coming out.
But like everybody that I speak to, every single content creator I speak to, everyone in my guilds, everyone is just like, I am so into this game right now. Like, everyone is just so into Guild Wars. I've got friends who've never played it before who are trying it out. I've got buddies who were like casual, who would just pop in to play the story and literally just play the story and then log out and just come in for every living world. Like, these people are now like, oh, maybe I should play some strikes and fractals and stuff. And like, people are just so into Guild Wars, and yet it's a content lull. And I think it's just that people, like, I think it's a word of mouth thing. I think people are just hyped about the game, finally.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of things. I think it's the Steam launch, but I also think it's just the huge amount of, like, content creation that's been going on. I don't know if you watched the Mitch Mannix video, the Guild Wars 2 is breathtaking video. It's got like,
I think I did. I think I saw that one. If not,
it was excellent. That's at like, yeah, I mean, that's at almost 500,000 views now, and that came out only a couple weeks ago. So there's been a huge amount of content creation going on, and that combined with the Twitch numbers as well, there's just been like a surge in interest. That is my dog freaking out at like some random people passing by. Wait, yeah.
Good guard dog.
Yeah.
Good guard dog.
Yes, yeah. Little guard dog. Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. Yeah, I think it's just the content creation scene, the Twitch numbers. Like, my brother recently downloaded the game, and I was like, oh, why are you getting back into it? Because he quit like a year ago. He only dipped his toes in for about a month and then left. And he's like, oh, I just keep hearing things about it. Everywhere I go, everyone's talking about Guild Wars 2. And I was like, oh, so interesting. Like, it is reaching really far out now. And I think that's a testament to, like, I guess ArenaNet's marketing has been better recently. I think Guild Wars 2 players are just feeling a bit more enthusiastic.
Their marketing
Yeah.
still
Yes.
needs a little bit more encouragement. But come on,
Right.
guys.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
keep it up with the marketing. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just I think you're right. It isn't the Steam release. It isn't Ender Dragons. It isn't the patches. It isn't the content creation. It's all of that. It's the fact that like
Yes.
so many of these things are happening all at once, and it's largely, I think, kind of something that's out of ANET's hands. It's just kind of something that the community had to decide. Like, yes, we're good. It's like how a video goes viral. You can't make a viral video. The game just is kind of going viral. But at the same time, you can pay to get a video boosted.
Yeah.
And
For me, what I think it is,
could do that.
it is. I mean, exactly. I mean, it is totally word of mouth to me, and it's like community sentiment. I think a weird comparison is like Among Us, right? Among Us came out, and it did not make a drop in the. It didn't make a single ripple in the entire gaming sphere. People didn't even know this game existed. They made a trailer for it when it came out, but nobody was playing it. And then like 2-3 years later, it blows up because of the content creation scene. Like one popular streamer picks it up, the rest do, and it's this huge like snowball effect. And they didn't do anything. They just left the game there, and eventually people picked it up.
That's happened
and
with so many games. It's so bizarre when that happens.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's an interesting comparison because like, even if the Among Us developers made some new content and released it and did this big song and dance about it, a huge trailer, that sort of thing, people would look at Among Us and they'd be like, oh, I've never heard of that. I'm just gonna like bat it away, not download it. Who cares? And I think it's similar with Guild Wars 2, where like, no matter how much marketing ArenaNet does, I don't think Guild Wars 2 or Guild Wars in general has like the brand power that World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy has. So even if they make these trailers and do live streams and that sort of thing, when it reaches those people, they like look at Guild Wars and they're like, oh, that's cool. And then they just bat it away. So I think this community sentiment is so important because it lets outsiders know what Guild Wars 2 is about in a way that I don't think ArenaNet themselves would be able to do through marketing, you know?
They couldn't authentically advertise the game the way content creators can. Like, because obviously, devs are gonna say this is the greatest game ever made or whatever.
Yes.
But you're gonna have to get someone else to say, no, this really is the greatest game ever made. These guys aren't lying.
Right.
And I mean, when was the last time you saw someone besides Josh Drive Hayes make a video about Bless Online?
Right. Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
I mean, like Raid Shadow Legends has a bunch of advertising. Their marketing team is like off the chain, but nobody's downloading Raid Shadow Legends because we know what it's. We're just like, who cares? And you need content creators to talk about it and talk about like how genuinely good it is without a script. You need like this organic content,
And like, I will never download Raid Shadow Legends because, yeah, sure, there's some content creators that I love who make videos about with Raid Shadow Legends ads, but it's like, I'm not going to trust the word of a blacksmithing channel that I watch on a video game, And the video game channels that I watch wouldn't touch a Raid Shadow Legends advert with a 10-foot pole. But with that being said, Raid Shadow Legends, I am up for sale.
Yeah. But like, I like the point you made that like no one's gonna listen to the developers talking about their own game because of course they're gonna talk about their own game, and that's what Raid Shadow Legends does. Is like, when you hear a promotion from them, you know it's them who have written the script about it.
Yeah.
You're not like taking the word of the actual creator. So this like community sentiment is super important because like even if ArenaNet market their game and say, look how incredible it is, people aren't going to believe them. They need like content creators to do that, and I think that's what's happened with the Twitch drops. The game popping off on Twitch, the YouTube scene has started to see like a lot more people covering Guild Wars. I think that's super important. So
have you kept an eye on the Twitch numbers now that drops are done? Because I actually haven't done my due diligence. How's it going on Twitch now? Now that we don't have our Twitch
let me real
drops?
quick have a look.
I've been wondering how that was going to go down.
Yeah, it's definitely dropped off quite a bit. if I like look at it now, we're like, this is kind of an off period, but it's only at like 3.1k viewers. In general, I find that MMOs are pretty like difficult, like kind of unstreamable content.
They
There's
really
a lot of
are
like
hard to
repetitive. Yeah, like it is like the gameplay just kind of isn't immediately interesting enough to look at, so you're not really like following the gameplay, and then the actual content in the game is a lot of like repetitive stuff. That's just the nature of MMOs and that sort of thing. So, and in general, Guild Wars 2 hasn't had like the biggest Twitch kind of like presence. So yeah, I mean the Twitch drops definitely blew it up, and it's dropped like significantly now. But
it is as of recording now, it is 1:38 a.m. For me, which would be
yes.
around midnight GMT. So like I'm around German time roughly is where I'm at. So we're very much off peak times for streaming. I'm amazed anyone is streaming at all at the moment.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
I mean,
you do make a really good point, and I really like your point about MMOs being kind of like unstreamable content, because like take Harvest Temple Challenge Mode for example. I don't think it is very easy to portray to someone who doesn't understand what's happening just how difficult that is. I don't think anyone will understand, like if you've never played an MMO and you watch someone doing Harvest Temple, you're gonna have no idea what's happening, yet alone if it's impressive or not. And even like a seasoned veteran with like the diarrhea Christmas lights that go on screen so often, it's kind of hard to understand what's going on yourself sometimes when you're watching a stream. You really have to be in the fight yourself to really get what's going on sometimes. So it really is kind of difficult content to stream, and I think mainly people tune into MMO streams not necessarily for the game but for the creator.
100%. And I mean, on Twitter I've seen like a lot of the Guild Wars 2 content creators talking about this. I think there was like a recent discussion thread about how their performance has been now that the Twitch drops have died. Is there like, have they noticed an increase in viewership across the board? Are people sticking around? And it seems like they are. I think Teapot said that he was regularly at about like 500 viewers on Twitch, and right now, like even on these off-peak hours, he's sitting at like 900. So there's definitely people sticking around. I think it's generally had a pretty great impact on the Twitch scene. Will it blow up and stay up the top? I don't think so. I think in general, MMOs sort of ebb and flow with the content.
Very much so.
And because nothing new is coming out right now. I don't expect there to be any sort of like crazy.
Just humor me. Can you check out what the numbers for Lost Ark are?
Yeah, I actually just saw it. I think it's Lost Ark's at about 10,000 ish.
Well, there we go. Because you remember what Lost Ark was doing like not 3 months ago. It was the biggest game on Twitch by far.
Yes.
So like MMOs really do ebb and flow with the seasons, but I do think that we're gonna get more. At least I'm hoping that we're gonna get more people coming in when we get more content, because we are in a little bit of a lull now. But the only content I can really imagine people are gonna be jumping in for is like maybe the Lions Arch Strike challenge mode when that eventually drops, because I imagine there's going to be a pretty rad race to world first for that. But we don't even have a release date for that. All we know so far is that we've got episode 4 is coming out next week Tuesday.
Yes, I believe so.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I've really loved the current like the re-release of these season 1 episodes, because I never got to play them back in the day.
Right. I'm on like another side of it where I'm not even up to date with Living World season 1.
No.
And I never played the content either.
I'm loving them.
I mean, it looks cool. Don't get me wrong. I think for me, it is purely a like rewards thing. You know, like at the moment, I'm really hooked into Guild Wars 2. I'm playing a lot of it, but I'm playing strike CMs and raids and that sort of thing. And so it's really hard for me to pull myself away from that and do some like story content, especially because it's not like new story content that's pushing the narrative forward. It's like old stuff, so I know what the consequences of it all is. But I definitely want to jump in for it. Again, it is like a rewards thing. There's nothing like in the rewards that I'm really interested in, but there has been rumors that we might have some new like legendary trinket or something from this Living World season. That'd be really, really, really cool. And that'd make me jump in.
I really think that they should do that. Personally, I really do think that they should do that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. For me personally, I was just so excited to, like, after all these years, finally meet Dragon's Watch, like my best friends. Because, like, I don't know why Timey is with us. She is a child. She is a disabled child.
Yes.
I wanted to protect her. I wanted to send her home. She should be doing her homework. She should not be trying to save the world with me. Like, I want to know why she's with us. And, like, why is this, like, My Chemical Romance wannabe Bram here with me? Like, this dude is taxing as hell. Like, I was so desperate to get the context behind my relationships with these characters. And I think that's been my biggest draw for playing the Living World. Because, as you say, like, there aren't really any rewards besides, like you get a 20 slot bag for finishing each episode, which is nice.
If I think that's good. I think it's good for new players.
Yeah,
you know?
It's great for new players. Like a 20 slot bag is what, 10 gold off the trading post? 10, 12 gold?
Yeah, they're pricey. They're expensive.
Yeah, for a new player, hell yeah, I'd go run an episode of Living World for a 20 slot bag that's like 15, 12 gold saved. Hell yeah. But besides that, unless you really want that kind of background context, there isn't really much incentive to play these season 1 episodes. So yeah, I do hope that they bring some kind of a legendary.
Yeah, I will say I don't think it's a huge issue that I'm not like into the Living World stuff. I'm really glad that they're bringing that stuff back. Like, I'm so glad. I did do the first 2 episodes, and even just that provided so much context for what happens in End of Dragons, like the pub and that sort of thing, like meeting Marjorie Casimir. That's so important, and I'm so glad it's in the game, because I'm occupied doing other stuff in the game. I'm fine. You know, this is players for this is content for the new players, or for veteran players that want to like get that extra context. And I am excited to, like, once I've got everything that I'm doing at the moment out of the way, go explore that first Living World season and get up to date with it, because I do want to be there for the launch of like the next strike.
Yeah, I think so. That's gonna be episode 5, as far as I know, the next strike. But that'll be serious hype. Like, cause also I'm just really excited for the Battle of Lion's Arch. I think it was really cool. I remember old Lion's Arch. I remember what it was like before it got destroyed. And I mean, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. Most people seem to agree with me. I think Lion's Arch was way cooler back in the day. It was way cooler. But I'm really hyped to see that again. This is kind of something I've been wondering. This is a complete tangent, sorry, but do you think that they're gonna bring back the Hero of Lion's Arch title?
I'll be honest, I have no idea what that is. I didn't play Guild Wars 2 around that period. I actually don't even remember old Lion's Arch that much, apart from like doing it in the story. I think I went there like once before it changed, and I was like super confused because I did not play during that period. Yeah, what was it?
Well, it was basically just it was an achievement. It was an achievement for doing all of the Living World episodes, as far as I remember. Yeah, it was, okay. or it was an achievement for being there for the saving of Lion's Arch. And I'm wondering, like, well, that was the reward for saving Lion's Arch back then. do you think they're gonna bring back the title? Because I kind of think it's a little unfair to players who were there in 2013 to bring back that title.
Sure.
I don't know. It's something I've been thinking about for a while.
Yeah, maybe they won't. Maybe they just don't care. Like, I don't know if like people even care if it came back. I don't know. Maybe they won't.
I don't know, because every once in
yeah.
a while I'll see someone rocking the Hero of Lionheart's title and be like, "Whoa, you're OG." Like,
yeah.
You've been here for a minute. That's hardcore. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll. I really hope they give us something cool for the end of season 1, and as he said, maybe it'll be a trinket for the whole.
I think they will.
The whole achievement. But I think that it would be cool if they had like something for the plebeians who aren't gonna go and chase every achievement, like just something, I don't know, like a back piece or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I think that'd be cool, and I'm interested to see what they do with the rewards for the new strike. I hope they nail it. I hope there's some cool stuff in that strike. I'm not expecting the strike to be crazy hard, because it is the first strike that new players will encounter. I think the story mode version of it's going to be pretty easy, but the actual strike version of it, the normal mode, I don't know, it could be like semi-challenging, maybe around like the Aether Blade hideout difficulty. They could go really hard on the challenge mode if they wanted to.
I think they should
yeah.
keep making challenge mode just like shit kicking hard.
I agree. It's totally optional. Even if it is the first strike, just make it super hard. They don't have to do the challenge mode, you know?
Like, I think that the introduction of really, really difficult content like Harvest Temple CM, it's such a breath of fresh air for the game. It really needs, like, hard content. And look, I'm not gonna, like, sit here and say, like, I'm out here playing Harvest Temple Challenge mode. I'm a pleb. I'm a terrible video game player. But I'm happy it exists. And one day
it's something to strive to. It's something like a goal to strive towards.
Exactly. I think that having this like really difficult content gives so many new players something to look forward to, because at the end of the day, there isn't much. Well, I don't want to say there isn't much to like work towards, because there's a ridiculous amount to work towards. But Guild Wars is so focused on making your own rewards. Or your own goals, that I think having this hard content is what so many MMO players see as their end goal. Is this like what's the word? I saw a great word for it in a video I watched today. I don't know. Basically, content that you're like when you're level 1,
aspirational content.
Aspirational content. Thank you. Like you're like, ooh boy, I can't wait to get to level 80 because then I can play this stuff. And
yes.
I think that that's largely what Guild Wars needs to kind of keep players going, and keep goal-driven content.
Yeah, and to loop it around, that helps the content creation scene as well. Like it gives content creators a lot to work towards. I know Lara just cleared Harvest Temple challenge mode.
I love that.
Like bonkers. That's crazy. I mean, like that is a pretty awesome achievement, and that's like really inspirational to me too, because like Lara's kind of like, you know, a streamer, but like not so hardcore on the game, not extremely hardcore, and she managed to clear it, which is like, that's awesome. That's inspirational for me. I recently just cleared the Kining Overlook CM, and because there's this like step up, thank you, but because there's this like one by one, you're like ticking off the boxes, and they've got this infusion at the end of it if you manage to complete all 4 CMs. That's exciting to me, because now I know I have 1 box left to tick, which is Harvest Temple challenge mode.
That infusion
and I will
is sick
get to
as
it.
well.
Yeah,
I love that
sweet.
infusion.
And so, yeah, that is a great progression through those challenge modes of the Ender Dragon strikes, and I hope they do something similar with the other strikes that they introduce, especially like the seasonal strikes. So I hope they do something interesting with that episode 5 strike. That'd be cool.
I really do hope that they do something cool with it, because I really am like so hyped. I'm really so hyped for more difficult content to come into the game. But besides that, we don't really have much of a content roadmap for the next like while. So
Yeah.
like,
True.
do you have any predictions as to when we're gonna see season 6?
I don't really. I think they could really spring it on us. Because I don't know. I feel like a lot of the team is working on season 6, and there's not a whole lot to do with season 1, like in terms of like development. So I think by the time the final episode of season 1 comes out, season 6 is going to be coming pretty quickly behind that. I reckon a roadmap is going to release, like, what is it? It's the start of this month. I reckon by the end of this month, we're going to see a roadmap with the next set of like dates and that sort of thing. My guess, if episode 4 is coming out next week, episode 5 would be like a month after. So I'm thinking around Christmas time,
Really?
like November, December. I know I said in my video like early next year, but I actually think by the end of this year we might be into season 6. But that being said, I can see them sort of trying to delay it a bit so that it lines up with the next expansion launch. I imagine they want like season 6 to run through, you know, the whole of 2023. I had to check the year.
Check the year.
Yeah, yeah. I reckon if they started 2023 with the episode 1 of season 6 and just launched those throughout the year up to the expansion launch, that would line up perfectly. I imagine that's like kind of on the cards for them. They just want it to line up with their kind of expansion launches. So yeah, I think it just depends how many episodes they plan to do for season 6, really. Yeah, I'm expecting like December, January, that sort of thing.
I was really I was kind of expecting around March next year. So, I mean,
Oh, really? Wow.
I don't know, because we haven't heard anything. All we know
Yes.
is that there's going to be a new zone. That's it. That's literally
Yep.
all we know. And I cannot wait for a new zone because Cantha is my favorite shit in this game. I love Cantha so much. It is beautiful. I actually had a friend of mine last night on Discord who's making their way through the content for the first time, just going like, it's like I sent design notes to the designers and they just made this zone that I wanted to play in, because it's just Cantha's so cool. So I cannot wait to see what they come up with next.
Yeah, I mean, to put your mind at ease, it seems like from past history, it takes about like 9 months ish to make a brand new map and Living World episode for ArenaNet, and End of Dragons came out like 6 months ago. If they had just started, this is assuming they just started work on episode 1 of season 6 at the End of Dragons launch, it should launch by the end of this year. But they've also had season 1 stuff. They've had the Steam launch.
They've had
the anniversary. They've had a lot going on.
Yeah, so like I think you make a really good point. I personally was like so sure, so sure, like 100% certain that we're gonna get an announcement last Sunday. I was up, dressed. I was gonna stream it. I had my notes, like my notepad ready. I was so ready for that pack stream, and nothing happened.
Nothing.
Like, I was so sure that they were going to announce season 6, and I'm still baffled. Like,
you know what? Same. I was really expecting and hoping something about season 6, or even like a tease for the next expansion.
A single image, a still.
Yeah.
Of
all we need.
Like remember when they teased Ender Dragons and it was just a picture of a bridge, and everyone lost their damn minds over a picture of a bridge. Yeah. That's all we needed.
Yeah, and they like that End of Dragons tease came out so well before End of Dragons, like ages before. So I'm surprised that we haven't seen even just anything about season 6, anything like that, because it feels like it's pretty imminent. Like within the next year we're gonna get season 6, and it's I don't know, just something. I was to loop it back to the 10th anniversary thing, I was really disappointed to not see either of those things or even both. But maybe they've got something in the cards coming up, you know, soon. I think they just want to get season 1 out of the way so that they can focus like all of the hype of the new players, the veteran players, onto season 6, and there's no like distractions. There's nothing coming out between then. Yeah.
That's a good point. And I mean, the one thing I'm really concerned about, and End of Dragon spoilers, so just block your ears, but surely Cantha's running out of power. It's been a couple months. like according to law, like we're running out of time.
Yeah,
like
true that. I actually didn't even think about that. I think that might be an interesting plot point that they'll go with season 6, is the fact that they have no battery anymore. And it's like, how are they gonna power it?
Interested in where the story goes from here. I loved the ending of End of Dragons because it's a beautiful ending to the Dragon Cycle saga. Like this 10-year story that we had, it is such an epic conclusion, and that the post scene with Marjorie and Kaz, I cried. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But
it was awesome.
Like, I want to know what happens next. You know, like what happens after the events of End of Dragons, because like Cantha is running out of power.
Yes.
And like, I don't know. There's just so many questions left. Maybe we should get Bobby Stein on and like pick his brain.
I agree, Bobby. I'm coming for you. I'm gonna be in your DMs. We're gonna talk about this. I think he actually recently kind of mentioned some brief stuff about season 6 in an interview or something like that. I saw it on the subreddit. He was talking about, it was very vague, but he was talking about how there is gonna be a new location, and it's gonna continue some of the themes that were set up in End of Dragons, whatever that means. But that's, you know, I'm very excited. I'm intrigued. You know, it's gonna be a lot of like political intrigue, and it's gonna be about like the environment and that sort of stuff. I'm interested to see where it goes. There's so many places it could go.
I think I really want to know more about the Empress. I thought she was a super interesting character that barely had anything, and this is a super small like detail, but I can't stop thinking about it. Just like Jaina, the Empress doesn't wear shoes. What does it mean?
no queens apparently in Guild Wars 2 wear shoes.
They just don't wear shoes. I think even the Pale Tree didn't wear shoes as well, as far as I remember.
You're right. You're right. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I really want more of the Empress, not just for her feet, because I think she's an interesting character.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, on that point, I'm just interested in having a new cast. I'm very excited to just have like the old crew, you know, their story sort of wrapped up with the dragon story. Yeah. And so now I'm really, really excited to have like a brand new cast with us moving forward. You know, we've got like June, the Empress, Rama,
Yao.
Yao.
I love Yao. I hope we get more of Yao, because we barely got any of them in this expansion, and as soon as we met them, I was like, I love this character. Yeah. And then we didn't get much from them.
Yeah. It was very clear that they were like set up to be, you know, an ongoing character in future Living World stuff. So I'm just interested. I'm so excited for a whole new cast, because I think it just adds a whole new dynamic, you know?
And I think that if they play their cards right, a Living World Season 6 could... Okay, speculation time. I think Living World Season 6 could open up so perfectly to a Tengu playable race.
Yes, please.
Like, it would be perfect.
It's still on my wish list. I saw someone post it on the Reddit. Someone reminded me about it, and it hurt. Like, I saw a Reddit post that was like, is anyone still sad that Tengu aren't playable? I was like, I mean, I wish you didn't bring it up.
For me personally, even more than Tengu, I want to play a Kodan so badly. I would love to play as just a big old polar bear dude. Just imagine a Kodan Guardian with just a massive hammer. Oh, that would be so cool.
Be sick. You know, there's a Kodan. So cool. I think there's a combat tonic that you can use to turn yourself into a Kodan and play your class.
Okay, well, I'm gonna exclusively use
get
that
on it.
From now
Get
on
on it.
But,
Yeah,
I think,
exactly.
I think it would be so cool. But I think
A
that
race. Yeah.
with the way End of Dragons and well, like kind of the way End of Dragons set up the Tengu, like we found out
Yes.
that like there's all these extra like subspecies of Tengu, and they can look super different, and like I feel like we only really learned more about the Tengu like in this expansion. Like we didn't really know much about them beforehand. So I think
Yeah.
this is a perfect like opportunity, like the allied race system in World of Warcraft, to bring in a new a new race that wouldn't necessarily join Destiny's Edge or Dragon's Watch, and wouldn't necessarily have the same political power that the other races have, but are still like there in the same way that they have the allied races in WoW.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a perfect comparison. The allied races. I logged on to WoW to unlock some of those, and I think the way that they did those is very smart. I think a similar system for Guild Wars 2 would be excellent. It makes sense, you know. I think this could be a feature moving forward, even for them, if they can't really develop new mounts or new elite specs and that sort of thing. I think potentially, yeah, they could move into this sort of like allied race territory, and they would be definitely quite distinct. They wouldn't be able to take part, I think, in any previous personal story.
Yeah, and I think that would be fine.
I think they would be,
fine.
Yeah, totally. They would just
if they
be like
start
a
at
level 80
yeah,
character.
100.
Yeah,
or
start
even
at
if
level
they,
80, previous story locked out.
even if they start at level like 30 and you start with all of the different packs. And you start with the when they'll start calling you commander, essentially.
True.
I think
Yeah.
like because there's kind of like your first small little thing, and then there's that second little story that kind of progresses off the first one, off your first two decisions in character creation. But then after that, like there's no reason they couldn't just make it all one race, all the same.
I think they wouldn't be able to re-record all the voice lines that they need to go through the entire personal story, every expansion, Living a World season, all that. So it makes sense to me that they would start at Living World Season 6, all previous story locked out for them. You just have to do it on another character, and then they can continue from there.
I mean, what negatives would there be for a character to not be able to play the story? It's not like it really locks anything off.
I don't think anything, to be honest.
Like,
I can't think of a single thing.
Like, you can't go to New Kainang until you've gotten to that point in the story, but like, just let people go to New Kainang without the story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you make a good point there. But yeah, overall, I'm just really excited for what new content could bring. I'm so interested in, like, now that Primordus is gone, are the Isura gonna go back home? Now that Jormag's gone, are the Norn gonna go back to Kragstead? Like, there's all these like really cool questions and all these different possibilities for where they're gonna go with the story. Like, now that Kantha is back in the kind of the global sphere, is there going to be like technological tension between the Asura and the Canthans? Or is there going to be like kind of a space race type of story? I'd love to see like a space race essentially between the two.
That'd be interesting.
That would be such a cool story to tell.
I love the Taimi and June interaction, and I really hope that they like work together some more, and they have this little like sort of engineering buddy system. Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, no, I was gonna say I'm gonna like go in like 10-15 minutes, so I reckon we should just like
so let's I was gonna ask, so as we wrap up, what are you currently playing in game? What class are you playing, and what are you working towards?
Yeah, so it's funny, like as we were saying before, we've never been so hooked on the game right now, and I've been just playing everything, every piece of content, like strikes, raids. I've been doing daily Dragon Storm, been doing the meta events, working through the decade achievements to get the armor set. I've been doing like everything. It's been really hard to divide my time, to be honest. my current goals, I just finished legendary armor, so that's like all done out of the way for heavy at least, not mediums or lights, but
man. That's
just for heavy.
That's a brilliant achievement. Congrats, man.
Yeah, very excited. Highly encourage people go for it if they don't know what to do, because it gives you a very clear path. It means you've got to get into raids, and you end up doing raids every single week on reset. Like, it gives you a lot of content, a lot of, you know, good stuff. So now that that's out of the way, and I'm no longer doing so much raids, I've been working towards gearing my other classes, because I've been playing like every class. I had this discussion with a friend, and I feel like every class right now has some really cool builds, and so I'm just gearing like everything. I recently made a new elementalist, unlocked Tempest, Weaver, Catalyst, and I'm trying to gear like 3 builds, basically trying to get a condition damage build for Weaver. For Catalyst, I'm going for like power, quickness, and then on Tempest, I'm going for like heal, alacrity. And all 3 of these builds seem really fun to play. I'm really enjoying them. So yeah, I've just been getting gear for all 3 of those. And then on top of that, tried to get some more gear for my Revenant, so I can play Condition Renegade. I've been playing some Warrior some more. I'm just dipping my toes into like every single class and every spec. Yeah, just about everything at the moment. That's me. Yeah.
No, damn, like
I'm so ecstatic about the game right now.
Like,
I'm doing everything.
I think it's so cool that we have these chats, because I'm like on such a polar opposite like side of my progression. Because like right now, my main focus is trying to get my sky scale. And
yes.
I'm trying to finish Harvest Temple default.
Yeah. Nice.
So those are my 2 main goals. Is I'm trying to get my sky scale. I'm trying to finish Harvest Temple. I don't have an actual group to play it with, so I just keep finding pub groups, and I haven't gotten past Zaitan yet. But I'll get there.
Right. Yeah.
I'll get there.
Yeah.
And
it's a tricky one.
I'm gearing up my Revenant. I'm loving Herald so much. It is just a brilliant spec.
Convert.
It is such a brilliant spec. I'm loving the boons. I'm loving the quickness. It is phenomenal. I love that spec so much. Besides that, I'm playing through Path of Fire again, because I'm a kind of a sucker for the story, and I'm just playing through it again because I really enjoy it. But yeah, that's pretty much me. I'm playing Revenant a lot. I really want to pick up Druid, but besides that, yeah, I'm not really doing. That's me in the game so far.
Well, that's good to hear, because I think the last time we spoke, you hadn't even touched strikes yet.
Yeah,
so it's really cool that you've like gotten into it. It's probably like that's probably why you're like super hooked on the game right now. It's like a whole new style of content.
I even did some raids.
And... yeah, sweet. Yeah, what did you think of them?
Oh my god, it's so fun. I can't remember the raid I did, but we had such a blast. Man, it was fun. Like awesome. It was so cool. So yeah, that's me. I think I'll be really keen to ask you the same question again in a month. See what you're doing, what progress you've made, see what progress I've made.
Totally.
I feel like I'm still not gonna have my sky scale in a month, but it's okay.
That's fine. It's a low steady grind.
Yeah. But thank you so much, man, for I know you woke up early to chat with me. But yeah,
no worries.
We're gonna be doing this once a month, hopefully, for you guys. Yeah. Please leave us any thoughts or opinions or hate or love in the comments down below. Please go follow
what we should talk about next time.
And obviously topic conversations and all that. And if you want to see guests on the channel, let us know who you'd like to see. Go follow me on YouTube. It's the channel that you're watching this on. Go follow Bloom on YouTube. It's the channel that you're going to be watching the clips of this on.
Yeah, and I'll upload some sort of stuff for that. Yeah.
Go follow both of us on Twitter. I'll probably have those handles on the screen somewhere. But besides that, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been an awesome chat. I'm really excited to do more of this. Really excited for some more like cool Guild Wars 2 conversations. Hope we can like converse with the chat some more and that sort of thing. So. Yeah, really exciting times.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you had a good time, and we'll check you guys in the next one.
Yeah, catch you later.
Peace.